as we're going to get. I'm excited for this one.
Well, you're exactly right, Eddie. Early season, everybody had this penciled on their calendar. We had to move it, but now we're finally here and ready to go.
It was originally scheduled for January the 9th. That would have been a Sunday afternoon, but that's all right. Here we are on a Tuesday evening here on the Jersey Shore. The Hall of Famer Rick Pitino on one sideline, and the former point guard to Dean Smith at the University of North Carolina, King Rice, on the other. This Iona team, 3 in a row. They've won 8 of 9. They have surged to the top of the MAC standings with a perfect 6-0 league record. 4 early season game as we're going to get. I'm excited for this one.
Well, you're exactly right, Eddie. Early season, everybody had this penciled on their calendar. We had to move it, but now we're finally here and ready to go.
It was originally scheduled for January the 9th. That would have been a Sunday afternoon, but that's all right. Here we are on a Tuesday evening here on the Jersey Shore. The Hall of Famer Rick Pitino on one sideline, and the former point guard to Dean Smith at the University of North Carolina, King Rice, on the other. This Iona team, 3 in a row. They've won 8 of 9. They have surged to the top of the MAC standings with a perfect 6-0 league record, 14-3 overall. And getting free after the trap is Elijah Joyner, in the Tulsa transfer, gets our first bucket of the game.
Well, and interesting, after that basket, Coach Pitino and Iona, they like to press a lot. That actually could help out Monmouth. It helps them get into the forecourt faster. They play up, down tempo. Coach Pitino and Iona electing after that basket just to set up in regular half-court man.
So Monmouth comes into this game as Shavar Reynolds starts the scoring for the Hawks. Losers of 3 in a row. Monmouth had the best start to a season in program history at 10-2, but now they find themselves needing a win against the first-place Gales.
Well, both teams having an excellent non-conference play, as we see Iona score twice now inside. But this is what Monmouth does so well. They'll get out and run. It's interesting, as I mentioned, Iona not pressing. And Monmouth very comfortable against the press and being able to play full court as they match the 2 baskets inside.
The foul is on Shavar Reynolds as he tripped up Joyner in the front court.
You know, Eddie, so you talk about the non-conference success of both programs, and Monmouth started out, 10-2, had that recent skid. They had a long break after the Hofstra game right before the holiday, and have dropped now 3 in a row. There's no better way to get off a skid than to have the #1 team in the conference come and play at home.
Iona sharing it well. Nelly Jr. Joseph and a chance for a 3-point play.
I think what we'll see here also is Iona's very comfortable moving the ball and interior passing. All 6 points, all 3 baskets, close to the rim.
There's the sophomore from Nigeria, Nelly Jr. Joseph. What a season for him. The reigning rookie of the year in the MAC, averaging just under 14 points, 9 rebounds a game in his sophomore year.
Iona picked up a little bit full court after the made free throw.
Offensive rebound, Nikkei Ruddy. Walker Miller running well without the ball, but he can't finish. A matchup between 2 of the premier bigs in this conference, in Monmouth's Walker Miller and Iona's Nelly Jr. Joseph. He calls for it again in the post. It's a great move. Good defense by Monmouth's Nikkei Ruddy. The ball will stay this end of the floor. An Iona team that we see tonight, they lead the MAC in scoring. In the last couple of years, they were predominantly a guard-heavy team that shot the ball well from beyond the arc. Not that this team doesn't, but they're getting a lot of points going towards the rim this season, scoring almost 80 a game.
Well, we talked about the success under Timmy Kalous that decade. Great guards, the ability to shoot the 3, play up-tempo. Coach Pitino has a front court presence that allows them to attack the rim more, but they also can light it up from downtown as well. Neither one of these teams are going to have any problem putting the ball in the basket.
Whistle down low, and a loose ball foul will go on Monmouth's Nikkei Ruddy. Discarding Iona's Quinn Slazinski to the ground. As you get a look at King Rice and his former North Carolina teammate, J.R. Reed, over there on the Monmouth sideline. Good start for Iona. They've made 3 of their first 4 from the floor.
Their interior passing early on has been phenomenal. Great ball movement.
And Jolly's pass a little behind Elijah Joyner. And they say Monmouth's Marcus McClary the last to touch it. Monmouth typically this season has played their 5 starters, I would say, more than what they've done in the past, but here you'll see early King Rice go to his bench and bring in senior Sam Shapu for Nikkei Ruddy.
And actually going with a smaller lineup.
Monmouth fans wanted to travel. Instead, it's Barrick John Luis from 3 from straight away. George Pappas will answer back the other way for Monmouth as these 2 teams trade triples. Slazinski will try. And the rebound comes down to Pappas. Shapu. Shavar Reynolds, 3 from straight away. That one was off the front of the rim.
And that's a 3 Coach Rice will take every time in transition. That's what Monmouth does so well.
Buried straight away, Elijah Joyner. 13-7 Iona with the early lead.
Now obviously Iona not afraid to pull up in 3 in transition as well. And now Coach Patino will go to the bench, bring in some reinforcements.
That 3 from Joyner. Yeah, he's a capable scorer, but he's just shooting 19% from beyond the arc this season. It's a big shot for him. As John Luis rebounds the Marcus McClary miss.
With the style of play, both teams like to get up the floor, get off shots quickly.
A good defense, Shavar Reynolds. Leads to this Marcus McClary run out the other way. John Luis tracks him down. Joyner, Jolly, looking down low. Nelly Jr. Joseph with the left hand. Great start to this one for him. He's got 7 points. Walker Miller show his left hand the other way down the floor.
Well, we talked about in the open, we mentioned Jolly and Pappas from 3-point range, but the inside matchup of Junior Joseph and Walker Miller is another one that I think everyone will enjoy watching tonight.
Iona's made 6 of their first 8 from the floor. There's Slazinski. And a whistle before Tyson Jolly could knock down a 3. The 3 seconds will send it back over to Monmouth as we've reached our first media timeout. Iona a 6-point lead in the first half.
5 as well, but these 2 players deservedly so. They have just star power, as you mentioned, at the mid-major level. Pappas, as the 5th-year graduate student, having a terrific year. And Junior Joseph, we're getting to see the talented big man.
The Lou Henson Award given annually to the top mid-major player. Remember a couple of years ago, Monmouth's Justin Robinson won that award. Iona's gone to its bench. They brought in a couple of reserves. We'll reset that after this possession as Monmouth's Miles Foster long on a jumper. Iona's Osborne Shima pulls down the rebound. And a steal. That was Walter Clayton Jr. turning it over. Marcus McClary taking it away. Good Monmouth ball movement. That 3-pointer is too long from Shavar Reynolds. Ryan Myers is checked in along with Dylan Von Eyck as well as Joshua DeWatch. So an entirely second unit is Pappas. The pick, and he'll earn free throws with 13:48 to go here in the first half.
Well, the thing we've seen from Pappas is we know he can shoot the ball from beyond the arc. He's got such a quick release and size, but also it's the little things within his game that we've seen just continually improve. His ability to put the ball to the floor, get to the rim, great free throw shooter, but also his defense.
Who leads this Monmouth team now with 19 steals. You know, we've watched and had the pleasure of watching his game develop over the years, and it really is remarkable when he was a freshman 5 years ago to now, the personal development that George Pappas has had.
Well, you know, it's funny, Eddie, we talk about his shooting. He's 44% from three at home, only 32% on the road. Asked him about that. He said, well, I'm so comfortable here. I'm here every day. This is like my bedroom. This is where I shoot every day. Why wouldn't I make more at home?
A good hand, Sam Chaput. The steal, he gets the run out, and Monmouth trying to speed this game up. They cut it to 2.
Yeah, interesting, Eddie. Iona known for pressing and try to speed the game up. But as I mentioned before, we've talked about how Monmouth, they feel very comfortable playing in the full court, not in the half court. They're much more comfortable going up and down. So up-tempo, pressing, creating turnovers on the defensive end that can lead out to your offensive end falls right into their strength.
Iona's shooting it very well to begin this game. They're 6 of 8, but something Rick Pitino's not going to like, that is their 6th turnover already. Monmouth turning up the defensive pressure. Monmouth a 6-0 run the last 2 minutes to make it a 2-point game. Here's Miller. Going to go to the righty jump hook, and the rebound to Dylan Von Eyck. Here comes Joyner with numbers. Jolly, catch and shoot ready on the wing. Here's Jolly now, one-on-one with Shavar Reynolds. Jolly, a tough shot, couldn't get it to fall. The other way, a spinning finish for Miles Foster ties the game at 15.
Well, we see Monmouth, that's their strength. Miss or make. That doesn't necessarily need a turnover to be able to get the ball up quickly and score.
Well, it's an 8-0 Monmouth run to tie this game up. Good defense by Foster. The wall up, the rebound, and now Monmouth can take the lead here in the first half. Pappas, couple of up fakes, and he'll earn free throws. 3 of them coming for Monmouth's leading scorer, George Pappas.
And once again, Eddie, that's off a missed interior shot. When the opponent against Monmouth misses an interior shot, especially if it's a guard that heads to the basket, creates the defensive balance isn't there for Iona. And there we see in transition, Iona never set on defense. Pappas able to get Jolly off his feet, draw the contact. He'll go to the free throw line. He'll get 3 free ones.
86% from the free throw line this year for George Pappas. Monmouth, the #1 free throw shooting team in the MAC at just under 80%. A good answer for Monmouth and King Rice's team in this game after Iona built that 15-7 lead. Monmouth really used its defense to get back in this one. You see Pappas has had just some monster games in his Monmouth career.
And Eddie, it's a combination of a couple turnovers, but also, as I mentioned, a couple interior misses. And Monmouth able to get out and run and get into their offense quickly, get some transition baskets. That's a good part of their game. If Iona scores, it's a little bit harder for them to get out into their transition game. And most teams try to get Monmouth into a half-court set on their offensive end.
Well, that Monmouth run is now 11-0 to take a 3-point lead. Von Eyck, 3-pointer rims out. Good Chaput hands, but it goes right to Jolly, who puts it in. Yeah, we've got immediate timeout coming, but we just saw that statistic about Pappas in 30-point games, and we'll talk more about that when we come back with 11:30.
Make me name the other 4, and I wouldn't be able to probably do that.
You got a couple of them here during the media.
Well, I'm going to go with, it's either, I'm guessing, either Al Blackwell or Rashawn Johnson would be my guess.
Well, you successfully guessed numbers 1 and 2. Alex Blackwell did it 9 times. Rashawn Johnson did it 6 times. And here's Pappas to pull down the rebound and draw the foul. 11:22 to go here in the first, and Monmouth will get it back. You know, just to close the loop, George Pappas has had 30 or more in a game this year a couple of times. Corey Albano did it 5 times. And then a name from back in the day, Rich Pass as well. The only guys to score more 30-point games than George Pappas in their Monmouth careers. Good job.
Love the Monmouth history. Corey's going to hold that against me next time I see him. I didn't know that he was number 3.
Well, here's a foul. It'll go on Barrick John Luis on Shavar Reynolds. Now, the biggest change in this game, because Iona's still shooting 50% from the floor. Yeah, but Dave, they've turned it over 6 times. You mentioned it a few times already. That's normally what Iona does to teams.
Yeah, and Monmouth's done a great job on the defensive end. You know, Coach Rice talks all the time about the intensity. It's always a big topic of conversation at halftime. Monmouth seems to step up their game on the defensive end and the intensity side, even in the second half.
Well, this is a big development here as Barrick John Luis quickly picks up 2 fouls. Now, he guards the opposition's best player, which this time down the floor is Shavar Reynolds. He is the true definition of a defensive stopper for this Iona team. As here we'll have an offensive foul on Monmouth. It was Miles Ruth who had kind of a wild miss at the rim, and then Miles Foster will get called for the foul. That will also get John Luis out, and Iona will check in junior guard Parker Weiss.
And also Foster will head to the bench as McClary checks back in. Monmouth basically playing, McClary's your power forward and really playing with 4 guards in theory. This is something Monmouth likes to do too, is try to run different traps. Iona has not had any problems with that so far this evening.
There's a great back cut. Dylan Von Eyck gives Iona back the lead. And Von Eyck having a great year, shooting 60% from the floor, 42% from 3. Here's Walker Miller again. Monmouth featuring him early. Going to go to an up and under move and a big rebound by Junior Joseph.
Yeah, actually Miller trying to take advantage of having Von Eyck on him instead of Junior Joseph. Unable to come up with that basket.
Well, here comes Miles Ruth. Monmouth again forcing a turnover. And then Nelly Junior Joseph will get whistled for the tripping foul. That's an unfortunate foul. You love to see your big man hustle back defensively. And that'll be the first foul on the talented sophomore.
Once again, Monmouth creating another turnover. They would have had to run out if Joseph didn't get tangled up with Ruth. But either way, a foul, and Coach Patino is going to have Joseph sit on the bench.
Yeah, that'll get Osborne Shima in. Inbound to Walker Miller. Monmouth back on top.
Well, that's because of the ability of Pappas to shoot the 3. Mix up on the defensive end by Iona. They switched off. Miller able to slip the screen.
Joyner jump stop. Corner triple is good. Ryan Myers. 10 points last time out for Myers as he struggled to begin this season shooting the ball. This will go back over to Iona. But Myers starting to get that shooting touch back that we saw him display last year in his freshman season. Kind of one of those X-factor guys for Iona. Very talented sophomore from Brooklyn.
Well, Iona has the ability to shoot the 3. They move it. Everyone can handle it. They have the size inside.
More good interior ball movement for Iona. Shima and 1. That's Osborne Shima able to finish through contact.
And they're going to get Pappas. He created the contact on the arm. I haven't seen this all night so far. The interior passing, they're very comfortable, unselfish in sharing the ball, moving it around. But as I just mentioned, that interior passing, they've been able to finish near the rim, a couple 3-point plays.
Iona's made 10 shots in this game. They've got 9 assists as well. Monmouth right with them. They've made 7 shots. They've assisted on 5 of them. 2 teams that love to get up and down the floor. As that free throw makes it a 5-point game.
Well, both teams have players that can create on their own and score, but they also have great ball movement and passing ability.
Miles Ruth offensive rebound. And he'll earn a trip to the free throw line. That is an impressive rebound for the 6-foot sophomore from Hillside, New Jersey.
Well, Monmouth playing small. McClary, as I mentioned, when the defensive end is going to play the power forward spot, in reality, they're playing with 4 guards and Miller out there.
And another free throw coming for Ruth. You know, last year started 14 games, and now along with Sam Chaput, comes off the bench, plays a good minutes for this Monmouth team, known as a defensive stopper primarily. Colton Cashaw is checked in. He controls. Going to create an open look for Myers. Monmouth looking to run down by 4. Miller getting free down low. It's a 2-point game.
Well, once again, Pappas and Miller working so well together. That opened that passing lane. Pappas so dangerous from 3-point range. Miller was able to get the defender on his hip. Nice delivery from Pappas.
Miller, an impressive first half. 8 points already for Walker Miller. Slazinski getting inside, and Iona, it's been now 3 times that they'll have a chance for a 3-point play as that conference tournament play.
Yeah, well, and a lot of teams have lost the Iona in conference tournament play to the last 5 years, as we mentioned. The defending MAC champs in tournament play 5 straight years. We obviously had the COVID year where there were no tournament games.
Yeah, in MAC tournaments that were played, Iona has represented this league in 5 straight NCAA tournaments. Reynolds a little too strong on that jumper. Iona now has weathered this Monmouth storm and a chance to add to a lead. Good defense. Pappas and Ruth converging on Myers.
If you think about that, Eddie, it's just really mind-boggling. 5 straight times they've represented the conference. Winning a tournament on a neutral site. We talked about the decade and the job that Timmy Klus did here. It's really set the standard for mid-major basketball. Definitely basketball in the MAC conference.
No whistle here will go on Monmouth's Marcus McClary. That'll be his second. Yeah, we send well wishes to former Iona head coach Tim Klus. Always a pleasure to catch up with Coach before games. And I know he and Coach Rice developed quite the friendship as well in their time as adversaries, right? Battling with each other, but Coach Rice always the first person to ask how he's doing when it comes up. And Rick Pitino replacing the legend Tim Klus in New Rochelle.
Yeah, I'm thinking the other MAC coaches were probably happy, not happy that Coach Klus was sick, but that, he was moving on. And then all of a sudden, it's like Coach Pitino comes in and picks up right off where Timmy left off. It's like, oh, my God, the Iona dynasty is just continuing.
Well, that's the operative word, indeed, is dynasty. As Miller's now into double figures, he's got 10, again going to the offhand. Good first half here in West Long Branch. Slazinski to the step back 3 and a good box out by Miles Ruth. Head up in transition. Monmouth, great ball movement. Pappas for 3.
You're exactly right, Eddie. It was great ball movement. Excellent from Miller to see Pappas wide open. It was sort of still transition. That's a shot that he's usually going to knock down.
Myers left alone for 3. That one rims in and out.
Well, you talk about 2 guys that are usually going to hit that open shot, and Myers as well.
Reynolds puts it in. It's a 1-point game.
Consistently, come conference tournament time, if for some reason one has an off night, you can rely on the other three. And, you know, big game here, you're seeing those top players being able to put the ball in the basket.
Yeah, each team's frontline guys having moments here in the first half. A whistle out front, and it'll go on Monmouth's Walker Miller. His first foul. You know, the Monmouth shots this year, too, they've been pretty spread out among those 4 veteran leaders, but in this game, they have made a concerted effort to feature the transfer from North Carolina, Walker Miller. He's 5 out of 10.
We mentioned this earlier between himself and Junior Joseph. You have a front court matchup. Solid players. You know, players that have had the ability to play at a high level. Then a complementary of guards on both sides that can get to the basket, slash, and shoot with range.
There's Joyner, had a great career at Tulsa before making the move to New Rochelle and to play for Rick Pitino.
Well, it's interesting, the MAC conference this year, you know, they have a decent amount of players that have transferred and taken advantage of the 5th-year rule, called kind of the COVID transfer rule. But the last couple years, mid-major teams have been losing players that were transferring up after having 2 stellar years, and the MAC has always had success of having transfers come from high major programs, and that was kind of disappeared for a couple years. High major programs were getting transfers to each other, and the MAC wasn't benefiting. But this year we're seeing that benefit of a lot of the 5th-year graduate players playing their 5th year, having that extra year of eligibility.
Slazinski's 3's off the side rim, and Pappas tracks it down in a 3-point game. Deep 3 for George Pappas. We are tied at 31.
Well, we talk about his ability to shoot the 3 with range. He has such a quick release and size, so he's such a hard guard, which is so much more comfortable in the friendly confines of his home gym where he practices every day.
Slazinski threw it up to Shima, maybe a little behind him, and now Monmouth with a chance to take the lead here inside of 5 minutes to go in the first. Chaput gives Monmouth a 33-31 lead.
Well, we talk about it all the time. Monmouth is just so comfortable in transition.
And this will stay with Iona as they'll go to the bench. Dylan Von Eyck will check in, and a guy who's had really good moments for them this year, Walter Clayton Jr., a talented freshman from Florida, will check in as well.
So we're seeing mass substitutions here.
Well, both Tyson Jolly and Barrick John Luis have 2 fouls for Iona, so they've been on the bench for an extended run.
When you think about it, Junior Joseph, the 1 foul was in transition where you got tripped up with Miles Ruth. At the time, we didn't think much of it, you know, and maybe Ruth might have had an easy basket, but also Junior Joseph picking up the silly foul there. He's most likely, Coach Pitino might be riding him on the bench for the rest of the half.
A back and forth first half. Iona has hit a bit of an offensive struggle here, just 1 of their last 7. Von Eyck will try to break it. His 3 rims out. Shima, first try. And that bucket for Colton Cashaw will tie the game.
Now we're seeing Iona pick up a little bit of full court. This is the first time they've scored since Coach Pitino called that last timeout, trying to create the intensity on the defensive end.
Pappas looking for a shot. Oh, what a look-away pass. Foster will have free throws when we come back. We're all tied at 33. You want to talk long-range shooting, got to talk Dave Calloway and this guy.
We love the downtown shot. And some veterans. 5th-year seniors being led by Pappas, and also obviously having some high major transfers in Reynolds and Walker Miller from his alma mater.
And the dean of MAC coaches is King Rice. And his team has a 1-point lead over Iona here late in the first half. You know, Iona started so fast in this game, and then really it was Monmouth's defensive pressure, Dave, that seemed to just change this game completely.
Yeah, we talk about their ability to get up in the front court. They like to run the transition. They have to get stops. And that guy Myers can shoot the three. Actually, the only one he's missed, he was wide open. But when Monmouth has been able to get stops, they've either created a few turnovers from runouts, but in particular just some stops, and they're able to get the run out. Get some easy baskets in transition, a couple threes in transition.
Pappas, deep three for George Pappas. He's starting to feel it, and the Monmouth lead is won late in the first half.
He pulled out on the switch. The 7-footer was on him.
Ruth, more good defense, and Monmouth now off and running to a 3-point lead. It's amazing what shots and stops can do.
He gets some easy runouts. Pappas hits the three, gets everyone excited. Shampoo just a second late there. They might have had another run out.
Monmouth has turned Iona over 8 times in this first half. They've only committed 2 turnovers. One of the reasons why they have a 3-point lead with 2:25 to go in the first.
Well, we had a feeling this game was going to be a high-scoring affair. So far, neither team is disappointed. We're talking about some talent on the floor that can put the ball in the basket.
Clayton, after some free throws, will step out. Elijah Joyner back in. You know, when this game was originally scheduled back on January the 9th, you were looking at 2 teams like you were mentioning, top 15 in the mid-major poll. And Monmouth's dropped a couple, including a long COVID pause, but they are playing in this first half like they did early on in the season. It's made for a really good first half. No doubt going to make for a great second half as well.
Yeah, and the ability to make threes in transition, a big part of Monmouth's offense. The main guy for that is at the free throw line right now, and George Pappas. We talk about how comfortable he is shooting here.
Now 15 in the first half for George Pappas. Vigilant has a constant need for all blood donations, specifically type O and platelet donations. Go to vigilant.org to schedule your donation today.
Well, you talked about the 30-point games for Pappas. He's halfway there. We still have 2 minutes to go in the first half.
Third leading scorer in the league, 15.5 a game. And we mentioned, as you just said, has had some just monster games this season. Joyner, a spin move by Joyner, but couldn't find it. There is Pappas, chance for Monmouth to add to a 3-point lead. They've made 4 in a row from the floor. Oh, and Pappas threw it away. Cashaw. Going to try to go all the way. That's a nice take for Colton Cashaw.
Well, Monmouth has benefited most of the evening of some turnovers on Iona and easy runouts on their end. That time, Cashaw takes advantage of the turnover from Pappas. Iona pulls within 1.
Nearing a minute to go in the first half. Pappas, shot clock down to 5. Throws it down low to Walker Miller to beat the shot clock.
Well, an excellent pass and patience by Pappas. Did not force the three. Shot clock was winding down. Great recognition by Miller.
Two-man game with Von Eyck and Junior Joseph, and Dylan Von Eyck ties the game.
All right, you have about a 4-second differential on the shot clock here. Coach Rice is going to talk this over. Make sure they finish the team's play. A 10-point deficit or advantage can be changed in a matter of a minute or two. But both teams have been back and forth. Iona had an early 8-point lead, and since then it's been back and forth, and not really one team having much more than a 3-point lead.
Shot clock and game clock just about 4.5 or so second difference. Reynolds has 5 seconds to operate. Going to create a little bit of space. Shavar Reynolds too strong. Von Eyck with the rebound. Can Joyner beat the first half buzzer? He can. And that Elijah Joyner layup will give Iona the lead headed to the break.
Of losing a streak to be able to come right back out and play the #1 team, get a victory at home. Buckle up for the second half, Eddie.
Now this is going to be a good one. These two teams have split their last 14 meetings overall. 7 wins apiece going back a couple of years. So you know this second half is going to be competitive. Here's Miller to the rim. Walker Miller says hello as we begin the second half.
We talked about being excited about the first place team coming in, breaking a skid, getting the crowd into it. And the ball movement and the two-man play of Pappas and Miller saw that benefit in the first half, and they start off the second half the same way.
They've combined for 30 of Monmouth's 45 points. Another Iona turnover as Monmouth looks to take the lead here in the second. BK Ruddy going to go to the rim. Walker Miller starting this second half. Anytime you get the crowd into it, always makes such a difference. The Junior Joseph through contact. A chance for a three-point play for Nelly Junior Joseph.
First half, Joseph on the bench with 2 fouls for a large chunk of the second half of the first half. And that time, Miller was out of position defensively, looking for the steal, never able to catch up. And Joseph finishes strong.
So quick is Nelly Junior Joseph. He's up to 9 points now. So both Barrick John Luis and Tyson Jolly, each with 2 fouls, start the second half for Iona. Two-point Gales lead. These teams have been pretty close since Iona built that 8-point first half lead. Reynolds, step back for the tie. And Ruddy can't find the handle. Here comes Elijah Joyner. Slazinski 3 off the front of the rim, but a Gales offensive rebound. Half court patient. Junior Joseph absorbing some contact. Nelly Junior Joseph.
Nelly Junior Joseph.
Powerful inside. He and Miller banging, going head to head. Joseph getting the best of that battle that time.
4-point Iona lead. They've made a pretty serious effort to get inside here early in the second as Pappas hits from outside again. It's a 1-point game.
Well, able to get the switch off the ball screen. Pappas with the step back. When he gets a bigger player on him, Pappas has enough size and a quick release that the bigger players are unable to guard, especially the step back.
Joyner double teamed. John Luis, nice pass to Joyner. A lot of contact down low, and Barrick John Luis beats the shot clock.
Basket by Eric John Luis.
You see his unparalleled athleticism. So quick off the floor. Miller to the turnaround. Walker Miller's got 16 points. Yeah, these offenses operating like they did in the first half. Crisp ball movement. John Luis knocks down another three.
We're watching two teams that have the ability to score in bunches. That's why a 10-point lead is never much for either team or deficit. But both teams matching blow for blow.
John Luis, Nelly Jr. Joseph sends it down, and the Gales out to a 56-50 lead. Game.
At that point, Monmouth was able to make a run on the defensive end is what got them back in the game. Coach Rice prides the Hawks on defensive intensity and talks about it often in the second half of tiring out the opponent, especially good three-point shooting teams. He feels like the intensity of the defensive end will wear down that other team and their legs go and they get tired and miss shots. This coach, Coach Pitino, we also joked a little bit, he's his 34th season coaching college basketball. We forget he also spent a decade in the NBA. And now to continue the dominance of the MAC Conference.
And since coming back to the college game, we showed his record earlier. He's 26-9 at Iona, 796 career wins. Really is remarkable. And you know, Iona was expected to be good, but they haven't disappointed, and I think that's the key throughout a remarkable non-league run and then not missing a beat in league play, winning their first 6.
And have a chance to be a dominant team in a very good MAC conference. We talked about Manhattan off to a good year. Iona's just so comfortable on the offensive end.
Well, and they're up by 7, and that's only Tyson Jolly's second shot. He went to the bench with 2 fouls in the first half. He's their leading scorer at just under 15 a game. Junior Joseph with the block. Here comes Joyner to the rim. Cashaw, the offensive rebound. Oh, and then a loose ball foul will go on the Iona graduate. Colton Cashaw commits the foul.
Well, great hustle by Ruddy, able to get the deflection on the block to create the miss. That was a big defensive play in transition because Iona would have had a chance to pick up their biggest lead on the evening.
Yeah, this is their largest second half lead. They did have an 8-point lead in the first half. Here's Marcus McClary on a baseline pass to Pappas. Now Chaput tried to leave behind for Ruddy and not on the same page as now Monmouth has turned it over a couple of times here in the second half.
That's twice Chaput's gotten too deep underneath the rim, unable to make a play. That turnover did not create the run out from Iona. And Coach Rice is going to come back with Shavar Reynolds and Walker Miller.
Jolly. Great look into the corner for Slazinski. And that is the largest Iona lead of the game, and even 10 points after the triple.
Iona built an 8-point lead early in the first half, and then Monmouth was able to make a run on the defensive end. And then both teams matched the scoring, and there's Pappas going to be able to go to the free throw line to shoot 3 in a row for the second time tonight.
Elijah Joyner was chasing him around the screen. He correctly went over the screen. It looked like good defense.
It's such a catch-22 for the defensive player because you know Coach Pitino's all over him. How can you give this guy an open 3? Then he fouls him. You're like, how can you foul a 3-point shooter? You know, you basically can't win.
Well, and Pappas has really become, you know, a guy who, when he was younger, was more of a spot-up shooter. But now his true strength is shooting off the dribble. It's shooting off of screens, which really is kind of a lost art. Most three-point shots, Dave, seem to happen from guys that are just kind of catch and shoot ready. But George Pappas is a bit of a throwback, not afraid to do that like Reggie Miller, right? Navigate all the screens, navigate the paint. I was going to use Allen Houston as an old Knicks fan, but I thought I would have gotten laughed at.
Either one works for me, Eddie. They both can play, but you're exactly right. And Pappas, he's improved the other parts of his game, which has even opened up his shooting, because now it gives him the ability to get more shots off, but also being able to put the ball to the floor, being able to get to the basket and slash. It's opened up and made him a complete player. 21
points now for George Pappas, including 9 of 10 from the line.
We'll actually see a change of defense here by the Hawks. They go to the zone and able to create the turnover.
Yeah, they switched to zone for the first time, and a chance to further cut into this Iona lead as Shavar Reynolds has returned. Reynolds creating space with the step back three, and that's a big shot for Shavar Reynolds.
Well, also, Monmouth just down 10, now a 5-0 run between the two free throws of Pappas, but also the step back and almost the ankle buster gets the crowd into it.
Junior Joseph with some tense moments handling, but he finds Slazinski. And Miller with the rebound. That Monmouth switch of defenses proving dividends here in the second.
That's an interesting point, Eddie. The first half run came off of intensity, some creating, some turnovers, picking up the pressure. This time the defense switched to the zone, has allowed a 7-0 run. Monmouth right back to a one-possession game.
And Rick Pitino wants a timeout. He wants to talk it over.
And he's now in double digits, and really the big three. We also obviously will throw in McClary as the fourth double-digit scorer and the fourth fifth-year graduate starter. But the big three are not disappointing this evening.
Iona comes out of the timeout as well with a couple of subs as they bring in Myers, Shima, and Von Eyck. Oh, Von Eyck to Joyner, but he's met at the rim. Monmouth will try to continue this run. Corner three on the way. That was off the front of the rim, and Jolly pulls it down.
Oh, that's a three that would have brought the house down.
Instead, it's Jolly back the other way. Tyson Jolly extends the Iona lead.
Well, we talked about that in the open. He is a great catch and shoot from three-point range. Has excellent percentage on the year, has ability to put the ball to the basket. Relatively quiet tonight with foul trouble. And Miller comes up empty there, and Iona got a chance to build this right back. We have a back-and-forth game of many runs.
Joyner finding Myers, and Ryan Myers will be called for stepping out of bounds.
Great rotation by McClary. They got Myers to pump fake, take the step. MAC Coach of the Year last year. And obviously we've been talking about Iona's success in the conference tournament 5 years in a row.
Monmouth's led by George Pappas is 21, 16 for Walker Miller. Monmouth had a run, and then Iona with a couple of answers of their own, as that's Miles Foster able to clean up the Reynolds miss.
Miles Foster very active around the rim. A great position there off the miss by Shavar Reynolds. And the Hawks falling back into the zone. After the last timeout, actually the Hawks went back to man. So King Rice opting to change it up out of timeouts each time.
That three-pointer is short from Joyner. Another defensive stop in that zone. McClary trying to go all the way. And the fifth-year senior will earn free throws.
Coach Pitino going to waste no time bringing Junior Joseph back in. But a great take by McClary. The Iona defender leaks out, as we can see here. Thought he was going to pass to Pappas for the three. So you got to almost credit Pappas. His ability to shoot the three created that lane for McClary. McClary recognizing that. That's why you don't want to predetermine for those young players out there. You never want to predetermine what you're going to do. You want to read what the defense gives you. McClary, a veteran, recognize that. continued to the rim, drew the foul.
Well, I think the point you bring up about not just McClary, but Pappas, the two veterans, they know spacing and the timing of that play. It really allowed that to develop. When you're not on the same page and you're too close to the shooter, then you don't have the ability, like McClary did, to go earn a trip to the line. And now Monmouth with another possession here after the offensive rebound, and now a one-possession game, 64-61.
Yeah, you just feel like Monmouth is another three or a big play away from letting this crowd erupt.
Pappas creates the open look for Reynolds, and it was one too many. Good defensive rotation by Jolly.
Yeah, you love the unselfish play, but you're exactly right, Eddie. That was one too many. Reynolds was wide open, had all day to get that three off. But still, Monmouth has the ball with 3 seconds left. They have to get a quick one off.
Well, here it is to Pappas into the corner. Jolly rips the rebound down with one arm. Von Eyck will step out. Iona's gone cold from beyond the arc the last couple of times down.
Well, that was great rotation by the defense there. McClary recognizing that Junior Joseph was open, was able to come over and help off on the switch, and a great box out as well.
McClary creates space, but they whistle him for an offensive foul.
Yeah, and Coach Rice upset with that one.
And the crowd not happy with that one.
Yeah, the veteran Jeffrey Clark, he gets the push off on McClary. The crowd saw it as the defender was falling, but either way, the problem with that, Eddie, is usually the Zebras, they're right, whether they're right or wrong. The ball's going Iona's way.
Yeah, the call from the official is undefeated.
I wish you would have told me that back in my coaching days.
I guess the only time it's not is if you can go to replay.
Yes, there you go.
That's a recent development.
There was no replay back in my day.
So McClary will have to sit. He now has 3 fouls. Tough evening for Marcus McClary. Just the 1 point and another whistle. This one will go on Walker Miller. So now Walker Miller has 3 fouls. He'll join McClary with that number, and fouls now starting to pile up. 2 different Monmouth players with 3. Iona's Barrick John Luis has that number as well.
Yeah, more importantly, that's Walker's 3rd foul.
Well, the turnover. Junior Joseph gave it away. Ruth, pitch back, Pappas, 3. And the ball comes to Ruddy, who will earn free throws.
Number 23, Junior Joseph, his second personal 15 foul.
That'll be Junior Joseph's second foul. Remember, he picked up the 1 on that tripping play with Miles Ruth in the first half. And he'll actually exit with 2 fouls. And Osborne Shima will come in with the same number of fouls.
I wonder if he has the ability to pick up fouls in bunches, because he sat a lot in the second half of the first half. I actually thought he had 2 fouls, which was the reason he was sitting for so long, but not sure. Coach Patino's been doing this a lot longer than I have, so I'm sure he has a reason.
Jolly able to send it down.
Tyson Jolly.
After Monmouth cut it to 1, that dunk makes it 66-63. Shima turned around, by the way, and there was no one in front of him.
He was almost surprised. Might have almost walked, and that's a big foul there. Miller's going to pick up his 4th.
Yeah, that is a huge call of this game. With 8:56 to go, Miller will have to exit with 4 fouls.
Coach Rice talking it over with Jeff Clark. You know, he obviously felt it was a good hard screen. Officials have been calling it tight the last couple of minutes. The players have to adjust when the officials are calling it a certain way.
And Von Eyck will go to the free throw line. Hit the deck hard as he just kind of threw his body towards the middle of Monmouth's defense. But the talented forward, who's having his best season in an Iona uniform, will go to the free throw line. It's a really big moment in this game, Dave. We have the under 8 media timeout coming, and then after that, you each have the one remaining, and then you really enter crunch time. Iona a 3-point lead, but this Monmouth foul situation has definitely changed kind of the outlook of the next 8 minutes and 44 seconds.
Yeah, Miller's playing great. Obviously, Pappas shooting the ball very well. And now with Miller out of the game, that allows the Iona defense to extend out even more so and switch off on Pappas.
Well, he's been the man for Monmouth in this one. 21 points for Pappas. You talked about how comfortable he is shooting at home. 4 of 8 from 3. Just 10 seconds this possession. Reynolds, rise and fire for the long step back two.
The step back elbow J is his shot. Pappas had pulled out on a switch, the 7-footer, and Shima. Shavar Reynolds goes to work. Monmouth now falls back to the zone.
Iona's been able to hit that high post in the zone. It's been very dangerous as far as creating shots. Shima, Joyner, great ball movement by the Gales.
Wow. What a great cut and dish by the 7-footer to Shima. To Joyner. Back and forth. As you mentioned, that mid-post, high-post area, it's the weakness in the zone. Iona makes Monmouth pay there.
Von Eyck chasing Pappas around. Well, Pappas able to trying to create some space around him. Into the corner now. A tough shot for Pappas in the corner. And Ruddy whistled for the push-off. That'll get us to the under 8 media.
Interesting, too, is Pappas going to be such a big part of their offense. Coach Rice getting him a rest. We talk often about Monmouth's defense, and Coach Rice and the defense pride themselves in particular in the second half of the intensity of wearing down good shooting teams and their legs going. And we just watched the last couple possessions. Iona's done the exact same thing to Pappas. He's had to work so hard. We get another jump ball. We'll keep Iona's keeping their way. Coach Rice recognizing that Pappas had to work so hard to get open. He's missed his last couple of threes. Going to give him a rest off the media here, but look for him to come back, and we'll have to make a decision of how much longer he'll wait. That Miller sit with the 4 fouls.
Jolly misses short. He picked up 2 fouls early and really never was kind of allowed to get into the rhythm of this game because he had to sit so much in the first half. As this will be a blocking foul on Dylan Von Eyck. That'll be Iona's just 6th foul. So, you know, the one thing that we've seen, these two teams have played very aggressive defensively, but they've done so without fouling for long stretches here in the second half.
It's been an up and down game, and it seems like the fouls have been ones that have stood out.
Right.
But to your point, both teams still not even in the bonus, and it's even 6-6. These officials are going to let these players make plays.
Reynolds again goes to that step back jumper, and it's a 2-point game.
Wow, that's a big play. You've got both Pappas and Miller on the sideline. Someone has to step up. And Shavar Reynolds falls right into his wheelhouse.
After a slow start, 14 for Reynolds in this game. Pappas will check in next whistle. Jolly will try to answer. And the rebound falls to Miles Foster. A chance for Monmouth to tie or take the lead with just over 6 minutes to go. This is Monmouth's 3rd game in 5 days. And they've played really well in this second half as well. Foster will go to the line.
Yeah, and that's with a chance to tie this here, Eddie. And that's a great point. Monmouth was playing well all year, and they had a lot of games back-to-back. They won 10 of their first 12. Then they had the loss to Hofstra right around the holiday break, and then they've been off for 23 days because of COVID. We see the effort here on the offensive glass. But sitting back, it's almost like that break kind of hurt them. They were on a roll and in a rhythm, and now you mentioned they finally got back into the rhythm they're used to, playing game back-to-back, and now finally having their third game in 5 days, coming and be able to play at home, playing a big opponent in Iona. I think if there was any doubts out there, they were answered tonight.
I couldn't agree more. And that last game at Marist, you know, MAC fans, you flip around the scoreboard and you see that score, and it definitely, I'm sure, raised an eyebrow or two. But this is the game we thought we'd get between Iona and Monmouth. Two teams picked towards the top of the league standings, and it hasn't disappointed with 5:57 to go here in the second.
Coach Rice coming back with Pappas, as we mentioned, he had that rest. Also recognizing that Shavar Reynolds just spent a lot of energy getting the Hawks back within one. Going to give him a short rest and look for him to come back with Miller and Shavar Reynolds probably after the 4-minute media timeout.
Oh, and Ruddy couldn't corral it. Yashima with a nice idea going backdoor to Jolly. Jolly fumbled it right to Ruddy, and he couldn't find the handle. Inbound to Joyner. Miles Foster protecting the Monmouth rim.
The student section, they love dunks, threes, and block shots.
6 seconds left for Iona to shoot. Jolly on the baseline will go to the line. Now, Pappas a little too close, a little too in to Jolly, and Tyson Jolly will shoot two.
Pappas getting a little bit of his own medicine. He off the 6-foot out, draws a little contact from three, gets to the free throw line, shooting a jumper. That time, Jolly makes him pay.
And Jolly scoring at just under 15 a game. Has another one coming. You know, free throws have been the one thing you could look at for Iona this year and say, you know, they struggle from the free throw line. Just 10th in the league at 69%. Doing a good job tonight, 10 of 13.
Monmouth leading the league at one point, in the top 5 in the country. They missed a little bit during this stretch in the 3-game losing streak. Now Iona picking up a little bit of full court pressure. This is something they do often. Have not seen that much tonight.
Oh, Barrick John Luis right in the passing lane. The throw ahead to Joyner, who sends it down. And John Luis had to spend a long time on the bench, making an immediate impact defensively.
Monmouth trying to run a set play. They didn't get it off last time. Chapu had the turnover trying to get the ball to Pappas.
So now it's Lazinski who picks up Pappas on the switch. Up fake, deep three, too strong. Now John Luis will tee up a triple, and he's going to want that one back.
Coach Rice not going to wait till the under 4-minute media timeout. He's going to come back with his starters. Miller with 4 fouls. Shavar Reynolds rested up. And he's going to run the next few minutes for sure with his starting lineup. A 5-point game.
Well, every time Monmouth makes that run to cut it to 1 or 2, Iona has an answer. With now 4.5 to go.
It was interesting, Eddie, in the first half when Monmouth made the run, they were able to actually tie it up and even take the lead. Tonight, they haven't been able to get to the lead, but they've been able to get to one possession as Miller hits a nice jump hook.
And he's got 18. 3-point game as we near the 4-minute mark. And Iona will call timeout. That will get us to our final media lead as we come back from the final media timeout. You see a couple of Gales, including Barrett John Luis, in foul trouble with 3. Nobody fouled out yet, and really with the exception of John Luis and Osborne Shima, Iona's done a pretty good job managing these fouls. Tyson Jolly picked up 2 way early in the first half. So he's done a nice job of playing throughout this second half with those 2 fouls.
Yeah, but it was actually never really got into the flow offensive. We talk about his ability to score. He and Joseph, the top offensive playmakers for Iona. Joseph has been on the bench for a while.
So Monmouth able to get a stop as Joyner can't finish. It has been an extended time out for Nelly Jr. Joseph. Here's Reynolds. Blow by to the basket. It's a 1-point game.
What an excellent take. We see Reynolds so many times get into the lane, likes to step back. That time he was ahead of the defender and able to get all the way to the rim and finish.
And worth noting as well, Monmouth's Walker Miller has 4 fouls. Something to keep an eye on. Jolly's 3 is too strong. Monmouth with a chance to take the lead here with 3:20 left in the second. Monmouth hasn't led in the second half. They have a chance with 3 minutes left to do so here. And Reynolds has been great here in the second half. Miller gives to him. 2 seconds to shoot. Reynolds hoists it up and he'll go to the line. Another foul while shooting a 3. It'll be the 3rd for Monmouth in this game. Pappas had 2, and Shavar Reynolds will shoot 3 with a chance to give Monmouth a lead late in the second half.
Well, great recognition by Reynolds, understanding the shot clock coming, running down. He was not going to be able to put the ball on the floor and get off a quality shot, and was able to create contact on the pull-up. That's actually what Joyner's trying to explain to the official. But Nathan Farrell having none of that. He's explaining also the hand was right in his face. Coach Patino did not complain about that call.
Well, Reynolds is an 89% free throw shooter. Missing the first one.
And Monmouth was red hot from the free throw line early in the season, going that terrific run of winning 10 out of the first 12. They've cooled off a little bit at the free throw line, especially during this 3-game losing streak. But that's where their ability to shoot the ball so well from the free throw line, they had leads and were able to close games out.
Well, Reynolds goes 1 out of 3, and we're tied at 73. Great game down the stretch. The league play starting to heat up in the MAC.
And Nelly Jr. Joseph back in the game. Going to work the 2-man game with him on the pick and roll.
Jolly lost it. And then the bodies go flying to the floor on the alternate possession. Monmouth will get it with 2.5 minutes remaining. And a chance for Monmouth to take its first lead here in the second half.
Well, excellent work on the defensive end. Able to come up with the jump ball on the loose ball. And now Iona picking up some full court pressure as Joseph is going to guard the inbound on Walker Miller.
73 all. Reynolds controls. He's got 17 and has hit huge shots here in the second half. Goes to the rim, gives Monmouth the lead.
Well, another ability of Reynolds. He likes to pull up and a step back, but that's twice he's gone right to the rim.
Big shot, Elijah Joyner. Iona back in front.
We have some players just making plays.
2 minutes in the game. 2 minutes.
Miller in traffic. And it will stay this end of the floor with 1:52 left. And King Rice wants to talk it over.
Enough Monmouth ball. Coach Rice had time to draw up a play. Did not have to use a timeout now. Buckle up here, Eddie. We have an exciting one going to finish back and forth, I believe, here. Is this going to happen in the next 2 minutes?
Reynolds needs to go ahead and get it in bounds. And there will be the timeout that Monmouth was going to take that they did not have to take because of the replay. So now the timeout does come.
So changing the baseline out of bounds set up here. We'll see what Coach Rice drew up. A big possession for the Hawks.
Brings Osborne Shima in to guard the ball, the big 7-footer. Reynolds has to get it in. And Monmouth has to take another timeout. And you have to... that we haven't seen a whole lot of Nelly Jr. Joseph down the stretch. Elijah Joyner has played very well. It just shows you how dangerous Iona can be. The Gales still lead by 1. We're ready to resume action.
Well, the Hawks have to get the ball in this time, as they do wisely to Miller. There's no timeouts left for the Hawks the rest of the way.
It's Von Eyck to guard Pappas. Pappas finding Miller down low. Monmouth back in front, 77-76.
What great patience by Pappas. Continually trying to get his shot off, but never able to. Did not force it. And a nice bounce pass into Miller.
Shima in the high post. Good Iona ball movement. Von Eyck too strong in the corner. Shima gets the putback, but there's a whistle before that. Oh, there was a loose ball foul on Iona.
And I believe they're going to get Jolly on over the back on Ruddy. So Ruddy will go to the free throw line. He'll be shooting only a 1-and-1. But this is what we talked about earlier, Eddie. During the early run where Monmouth won 10 of its first 12, they made every one of these free throws and were able to close out opponents. During the 3-game losing streak, the free throws haven't gone their way as much. Big 1-and-1 here for Ruddy.
Oh, and he misses it short. There is Shima for the rebound. Iona's been 6-0 in league play 3 times. The 2 previous times before this season, they did not get to 7-0. Will they do so here? 60 seconds left. Joyner again. That rims in and out, but there's Jolly down low. Misses the easy one. 20 seconds now for Iona, and a chance to regain the lead. There is Tyson Jolly. 35 seconds left. Throws it down low to Shima, who can't handle it. And a turnover with 30 seconds remaining.
And I know Iona will have to foul.
And there is the foul with 23 seconds left. And it'll send Monmouth's Marcus McClary to the free throw line.
And that is now the 10th foul, so Marcus McClary will get 2 free throws. You have to credit Monmouth's defense there. They weren't able to come down with the rebound twice. Iona was able to get second shots, but Monmouth was able to recover and switch off on the defense and force a turnover. Great extension. Walker Miller, recognizing on the ball screen with the shot clock running down, hedged out on the double, helped to force the turnover.
Oh, McClary with a miss. Monmouth has struggled from the line here in the second half. Now 8 out of 16.
We talked about them being the lead in the MAC and shooting over 80% as a team early in the year especially, but really struggling.
Oh, McClary goes 0 for 2. Iona can win the game with a bucket here. They turn the shot clock off.
And also remember, Monmouth has no timeouts left.
10 seconds remaining. Joyner wants it. He's going to rise and fire. Elijah Joyner buries the 3. Monmouth with 7 seconds left and no timeout, but Rick Pitino will take a timeout. And what a huge Reynolds with 19. Does Monmouth look for a 2? Does Monmouth look for a 3? 7 seconds left.
Well, Monmouth's going to try to get the ball in Shavar Reynolds' hands.
And they do. Reynolds with 5 seconds. Going to go to the basket. Reynolds will go to the line. He'll have a chance to tie the game with 2.8 seconds left.
Well, Reynolds, one of the top free throw shooters for the Hawks. has a chance to tie this one. He's done a great job in the second half of getting all the way to the rim. He's hit the pull-up that he loves to do and step back, but that time did not hesitate, went all the way to the basket, drew the contact.
I don't think I've heard this arena quieter than it just was before that Reynolds free throw. That one big. This one will tie it, the game.
Well, if he knocks this one down, I think you're going to hear the arena's going to be much louder. The Hawks can get a stop. We're going to play an extra 5 minutes, and why not?
This Reynolds one could tie it up, and it does. It's 79. Iona with just under 3 seconds left. Joyner hit the big one a second ago. Here's Elijah Joyner again. This one would win it. And we're gonna go to overtime. Oh, a valiant
overtime. Walker Miller playing with 4 fouls. So, hey, I remember just under 2, we said buckle up. It's gonna be back and forth. We get 5 more minutes of this. Double bucket up.
Are you still buckled?
I'm buckled.
Okay, good. So now we head to overtime in this Tuesday night MAC contest. You think all the good games happen on the weekends. Not the case. Anyone can do Friday or Saturday night. We're good on a Tuesday. There's Joyner to the rim, and Joyner gives Iona the first lead in overtime.
Well, Joyner has been Iona's go-to guy the last half of this second half. He's hit big play after big play.
Monmouth will throw it down to Miller. He's got 20. He'll go to the little turnaround jumper. Bodies go flying, and Von Eyck comes away with the rebound. Jolly trailing the play. He was the one that hit the deck. 4 minutes to go. Elijah Joyner's got 21. He scored for Iona. Previous time down. Shima will give it over to Joyner. He'll rise and fire again for 3, and Elijah Joyner is feeling it. 24 points.
Yeah, that time Shavar Reynolds was looking for Walker Miller to step up and help out off the ball screen. He went behind, and Joyner makes him pay.
4 threes for Joyner. Miller. Oh, he has the shot blocked, and the ball goes out of bounds. They say off of Miller. Miller's upset. He wanted a foul. Joyner's upset because he thought the ball was off of him, off of Miller.
Well, Joyner was overplaying on Pappas so much, and when Pappas dove, Shima, who was guarding Miller, helped out on that, and Joyner got stuck on Miller, was driving to the basket. The Hawks now down 5, shot clock running down.
Clary to the step back. Jolly able to secure the rebound. This 24-point performance for Joyner, a new season high in an Iona uniform, and a career high when you factor in his time at Tulsa. 5-point Gales lead, all 5 from the aforementioned Joyner. Kick out, John Luis. Where does Monmouth go for a bucket here? Miller with Shima on his back. And Walker Miller gets Monmouth's first bucket in overtime.
Miller much better going over his left shoulder. Last possession when he scored, he shot a fadeaway. Turnaround off his right shoulder. Much more comfortable with the little jump hook. And the Hawks got a stop last time by making Joyner, as they're going to get now to foul on Shima.
He ran over Reynolds, chasing around through screens. That'll be the 4th foul on Osborne Shima, and a big call with 2:13 to go.
Junior Joseph now checking back in. He's been a tough guard for the Hawks. But either way, now Monmouth trail by 3, picking up full court again is Iona.
Well, Monmouth just got their first bucket in overtime. It was Walker Miller. He's got 22 now as he, Pappas, and Reynolds all over 20 points in this game.
2 minutes in the game.
2 minutes to go now in our first overtime. Pappas is trying to create space. Cashaw does a great job defensively. And then Pappas almost threw it away. McClary, and a big shot for Monmouth's Marcus McClary makes it a 1-point game.
Oh, loose ball, pick up. The extra effort plays. They come up big down the stretch, especially in overtime. And Rick Pitino up here.
Yeah, he's 6 of 7 in this game. He's got 13 points. I can't recall the last time he took a shot.
Yeah, he's really, early on, was almost dominant, but not sure if there's some minute restriction, if there's injury, he's not feeling well, but has not played much in the second half.
Minute 30 to go. 1-point Iona lead. Monmouth double teaming the Gales. Jolly open in the corner. And Ruddy was hustling all over the floor that possession with the rebound. Minute 18 to go now, and a chance for Monmouth to take its first lead here in the overtime. Reynolds has 21.
Pappas actually got a switch where he has Junior Joseph on him now.
Well, Reynolds on the kick out. The rebound is fought for between Von Eyck and Ruddy, and Von Eyck throws it off of the Monmouth senior. Inside of a minute to go, the Iona Gales get it back.
We'd actually like to see Shavar Reynolds maybe try to create and take that ball to the basket. He settled for the three. Now Iona with the ball up one. The last possession, the Hawks decided to double Joyner off the ball screen. While that created an open shot for Jolly, still Joyner is the last person you want to take a shot. He has not missed here in this late in the second half and in overtime.
Inside of 10 seconds for Joyner to shoot. They float it down to Junior Joseph, and he's fouled on the way up. Free throws for Iona's second leading scorer with 34 and 4/10 seconds remaining.
Joseph, a decent free throw shooter, making 2 out of 3 at 67% for a big man.
He's 1 for 2 in this game tonight. Big free throws here. Calmly sinks the first one. Now he's taken and made the most free throws on the Iona team by a long shot.
Oh, he's a big boy down there, drawing contact. I would imagine most teams having trouble defending him. Just throw him on the free throw line. And he knocks down 2 calmly, nothing but net.
Yeah, no iron on either free throw from Nelly Junior Joseph, and now a 3-point game. First overtime here in West Long Branch. And a kickball will keep it this end of the floor. That will also get King Rice off the bench. He'll take his overtime timeout.
Joseph on the ball, but either way, first of all, Hawks have to get the ball in bounds. Last time they had the same setup to get the ball in. They lobbed it into Walker Miller and then ran their offense.
Well, there's the difference, too. Shavar Reynolds can't move, right? So he's got to, and they do that. They get it into Walker Miller. 20 seconds to go.
Still plenty of time. You do not need to settle for a 3 unless you let too much time go down. Now you might have to think about a 3 if this much time coming down.
McClary's going to go to the rim. He'll make it a 1-point game. They're going to go to the monitor.
A hell ball in a trap situation. But other than that, you need to foul. Either way, you'll have a shot to at least tie it with a 3, even if Iona hits both free throws.
It'll be Dylan Von Eyck to inbound. They get it into Elijah Joyner. Foul given. 1 second exactly comes off the clock. And here's something interesting. You know, we're into overtime with 6 seconds left. That's only Monmouth's 9th foul. So this isn't 2 free throws for Elijah Joyner. This is 1 and 1 for Elijah Joyner.
Yeah, and the guy you probably do not want to foul, as he has not missed since 8 p.m. at some point in time. But, you know, we'll see what happens. You know, sometimes guys that, you know, shoot so well from the floor and maybe they come up empty from the free throw line.
Joyner misses. Monmouth has a chance with 3 seconds left. Reynolds lost the ball. Ruddy throws it up. And the game clock runs out. There's bodies all over the floor. And